You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
The troubled youth of today could be the leader of tomorrow, which is why we need to give them the tools, the resources, and the mentoring needed in order to rehabilitate and bring them back into our local community. With us today is the founder and executive director of Vincent James Mentoring, a teen mentoring program here in Waukesha, Wisconsin, that focuses on mental health and the social system. Matthew, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for bringing me onto your podcast. It's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just love the vision that you've built for what you're doing. Can you tell me more about what it is that you've been working on the past 5 to 10 years and what you're doing today with it?
I've been in the nonprofit world for almost 25 years. When I turned 40, I'm only 38. I'm building a teen mentoring youth outreach with a focus on families. So, Vincent James Mentoring is built off of my father's character. I was a foster child growing up. Me and my brother were given over to the social system back in the day because our biological parents could not take care of us. Both our biological parents are physically and mentally disabled. So that was interesting going to family visits. And then while I was growing up in my family, we had 7 deaths in 6 years. And that was really hard to take. So each death is a story in of itself. So when I went through the different nonprofits, Dean Culver saved my life with a hug. This man started an outreach called the Teen Center. Without him, there would be no Vincent James Mentoring. I just want to let your listeners know that for certain. If it wasn't for that man, I would be 6 feet under. Then after a while, we morphed into another organization called Strong Leagues. Spent 13, 14 years in that organization and learned a lot. And in that organization, we had 2 deaths. One death was a suicide, and the other death was a car crash, unexpectedly car crash. Jake died from a suicide, and Bradley died from a car crash. So I give you this history to give you a little bit of a synopsis of what we're doing. So mental health is so important. I didn't actually want to start the nonprofit when people were telling me to start a nonprofit. I actually wanted to start a brewery at the time. So I had to be convinced to start the nonprofit. But when I did, I said, okay, what did I need when I was a kid? And what could I have, benefited from? And the other individuals, what would have they benefited from a little bit better? Not saying that my other mentors were bad. It's just an evolution of my life. So counseling and mentoring is key. We want to service the individuals that no one wants to work with, that no one wants to show hope or do anything. I know that sounds a little bad, but it's true. The social system, a lot of people demonize the social system. It's there to serve the individuals. So what we want to do is be that organization, that catch-all for the people that are needing help, and just want to make sure that how we serve the other entities, you know, the social system, the schools, the other nonprofits, the businesses, the churches, that it's a servant heart, and that we're showing that it's about what we can take off your plate and we can take on our own to really benefit the community. I love this. My father, mentor Vincent James Canaglero, he was an amazing man. He was just a regular guy working at the Canadian Railroad Company downtown Milwaukee, and he was a Marine. And it was funny. There's a story that my mom said. He asked all right, I can work at Miller or I can work at Canadian Railroad. And she didn't like beer. So you went to Canadian Railroad. With that, it created a standard. It had a standard of toughness, but gentleness. And you felt that within a hug. He was a Italian guy, grew up in a Italian home. You know, everybody came in back in the day. There was no locked doors. You just walked in. Everyone was family. And that's what we're creating. The moment you walk in our doors, you know you're home. You know you're secure.
That's fantastic. The history and purpose behind why you're doing what you're doing. And aren't you rehabilitating a building in order to serve the community as well? And you're putting all these pieces together. This is a huge project you're undertaking.
But yes, I'm actually in the building I used to break into when I was a teenager. So I never got arrested. I would break in through the basement and then I would just go and sit on the steps. It was a 150-year-old building. It was built in 1877. Dr. Moore was the individual that built it. He was a homeopathic doctor. He did not like modern medicine even back then. I don't like the way counseling is done for individuals that are, let's say, a little bit more colorful. They have some more spirit, right? More the individuals that are with hurt and rage, and no one wants to understand them. Don't get me wrong, there's great counselors out there, but these are the individuals we really want to serve. So I had the opportunity to get into the building. When I was a teenager, I got the cops would knock on the door and they'd call me by my full name, my full government name. They're Matthew Earl Stafford. You know, what are you doing in here? I want to own it one day. Well, you're only 15. Get out. Right. And lo and behold, I get a hold of Stephen Green, and it was just a God story. I don't know if your listeners believe in God or whatnot. I do. And it was just really cool. So we get to do a lot of work, a lot of rehab, but the purpose is for them. The work is all for them. Blood, sweat, tears, all the frustrations. It's to serve the individuals coming in. And I have a really non unconventional way to service the individuals coming in.
That's incredible to hear what you're doing to help people. It has to be just a huge task and something that you've been working on for quite a while, something you never even thought you wanted to get into. You had to be pressured into it, but you took this full
Yeah.
on. You said, I'm going to take this challenge. And I believe that it's giving you the drive and the purpose that you were hoping for.
Oh, yeah. Without Fred Garcia, Carla Rodriguez, Andy Justman, Peter Jordan, Keith Braun, Dean Culver, my pastor Ona. I can't call him by his full name. His first name is Bob. It's really weird for me to say that though, because I have so much respect for him. But without these individuals, I wouldn't be the man I am, but also I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. I've never thought I'd run a nonprofit of this caliber. A couple days ago, I had to do a suicide watch. Not had to, got to. You know, a individual from the nonprofit called me and said, "Matt, I'm feeling suicidal." I sat and talked with him for 5 hours to make sure that he understood what he was thinking. He just wanted to talk, really. And overall, he didn't seem suicidal. He was extremely depressed. So there's disconnect between true suicidal tendencies and extreme depression. Depression can lead into extreme depression and then into suicide. But what we're trying to do is open up that line of communication. The moment my phone goes off, even if I'm in this podcast right now, if my phone goes off, I will be going to take care of the individual. So we're accessible. We're serving the individual within the moment.
And that's so important is not only to be proactive within what you're doing to help people, through the consulting, the lessons, the mentorship, but to be there when they need you the most. At that random moment, you could be expected to step up to the plate and need to provide the service to help them out.
Right. And I never went to school for anything. I actually taught myself how to read and write by developing the nonprofit and the programs that we have. And we're going to get through accreditation process so we can get funding through the social system and different organizations that will be of service to the individual. Yeah, I was practically illiterate my whole entire life. Not to talk bad about the school system, but I was not a good student whatsoever. Half the time I was plastered. The other part was just me screwing off, and I was not a good student. For me, not to be 6 feet under or in jail, I'm making amazing progress. I get to get married this year, so I'm happy with my life. With the organization, I want to make sure that it's all about my father and his standards. And if people see me or any of the staff, they're showing my father's love and the standard that my family that I had growing up. Even that we had a lot of hurts, we had a lot of strength as well.
Isn't it crazy how the mentors that we've had within our lives over the years, everything that they teach us, it almost feels as an honorable obligation to want to further that education and knowledge by sharing what we've learned from our mentors with others. Do you feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you a prime example. One of my more significant mentors, Paul Wan, was the individual that went to my church growing up. And when there was a death in the family, Paul Wan helped me and some of my siblings to understand it's okay. It's not going to hurt all the time. He was a Navy man. He did so many different things in his life. I think he's in his 70s now. It was a unspoken bond that he was my mentor and I was his mentoree. And just by him walking by me and just saying hi and putting an arm around my shoulder, it showed me that I was important to him. What I was I now want to show these individuals. It's all about being a servant. I want to make sure that people understand that my outreach is about the heart that we have.
It's truly incredible. Now, for those who are listening and either want to donate, learn more, or follow the incredible journey of your organization, where can they find out more about you and your mentorship?
They can call me at 262-751-0303. If you guys want to get a cup of coffee, I enjoy a beer and a cigar. If you want to guys donate time, resources, or expertise, please call me. And then if you feel led to donate, I have Venmo, Vincent James Mentoring Foundation. And then you can mail a check to 307 East Main Street, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Now, as your journey progresses, what are the next steps in 2024? We're almost through quarter one of 24. What does the rest of the
Yes.
year look like for you?
So this upcoming year, even that we're rehabbing the building, we can't serve people out of the building right now. So we're going to rent an office downtown Waukesha for a year or two, maybe three, while we're rehabbing the building. And then also we're developing our staff this upcoming year and developing the networking system or the networks to properly serve the individuals within Waukesha County. I also want to make sure that individuals know we're not just a Waukesha city organization. We're here to serve the county. First and foremost, I'm in love with Waukesha. Anybody that has ever met me, you'd be like, man, just shut up about Waukesha. Like, don't you know there's other cities in Wisconsin? Like, you know, go somewhere and experience something. But I realize that there's more of a need in Waukesha for a non-conventional outreach like mine here because I founded it and did it in Milwaukee. Milwaukee has thousands of nonprofits that do great work. My nonprofit might get lost in that world. So this is where my heart is. This is where I know the need is, and we'll go where the need is as well. So if say in 5 to 10 years we go to Milwaukee or Sheboygan or whatever county, we'll go where it's needed. But headquarters is here in Waukesha. So we're looking for a place to rent reasonably, and we're looking to get the building rehabbed and bought by the end of this year, hopefully, no later by the end of next year, buying the building.
Very exciting. I'm really looking forward to see the progress, and it's important that you're helping your local community first. That's where your heart is. But once you have that foundation and structure built and you're showing how much impact you can have in teens' lives, then you take it to that next step. You're going to have satellite offices, and then suddenly you're nationwide. And wow,
In saying nationwide, I was actually writing out a blueprint of what our organization would need to do to go count each county, then each state. So I'm working on a very big plan, but I want to make sure that people understand that I have a website called vincentjamesmentoring.org. We have a Facebook group and page. And then also every Sunday, I do a mat talk. I'm very open on my thoughts. So this helps build the foundation of the theology of Vincent James Mentoring. So if anybody wants to go to Facebook or the website, you can drop me an email too. Let me know how I can serve you guys. It's not all about how you guys can serve me in my organization. I want to be able to serve you guys as well. So if there's an opportunity for me to help, I'll gladly do it.
Matthew, your heart is in the right place. You're taking action and you're seeing your dreams through. What is one piece of advice, any quote, something that can help inspire others who may be feeling down or lost or troubled? What is something you would say to them?
So I'm going to go to a memory. When I was 10 years old, I was actually suicidal and I didn't even know what suicide was. I almost ate a bullet. This was not at home. This was a couple houses down. My dad was on the back porch and he had his flannel on. He had a cup of coffee and a cigarette in his hand. I'm bawling my eyes out. The reason why I wanted to commit suicide is I was hurting because I didn't know why my biological mother and father didn't accept me. And there was some hard traumas that I had from them. So I didn't know how to work through that. So my dad never called me by my name. He called me boy. And he said, "Boy, come here." And I'm bawling. He gets down on one knee. He says, "I don't care who you came from. You are my son. You might have come from another mother and father, but you are my son." And he gave me a hug. And this is the catchphrase and the mantra, the mottos that the outreach we stand upon. Through this hug, built these two sayings: forever family, forever intertwined. And the second is to live is to love is to live. Now, those are actually in our crest logo, and that's a standard of ours. No matter what, the moment you see us or you you're in person, I hope we show that those two phrases: forever family, forever intertwined. To live is to love is to live, without question. We're here to serve. My dad was an amazing man, but he was built off of family traditions. His mom and dad that came from Italy. and the traditions they have. We're building those traditions again. I'm so grateful for my family, but I'm also grateful for the traditions of family. I know that was a little weird to say, but I am grateful for that old way of doing things, you know?
So impactful. A simple hug and a simple phrase in a crucial moment in your life can really impact you and can impact others as well.
Yeah, and you don't know what will impact someone. A hug for me is everything. If I give a hug out, I give a hug and, you know, a smile, a handshake, a gesture of opening up the door. You don't know when you're going to save someone's life. Dean Culver didn't even know my name for like maybe 6 months. He just knew I was a kid hurting and I was there at the teen center. He saved my life. I was the second teen that walked through that door. And without him, there would be no Vincent James Mentoring. I'm so very grateful for everyone that's involved.
Matthew, it's incredibly inspiring, and I can't wait to see the impact that you're going to be having on the community above and beyond what you're already completing right now. Now, for those of you who are interested, make sure you check out the comments, the links, and the show notes below to get in touch with Matthew Stafford. Not that Matthew, the other Matthew, this one that we're talking to. And make sure that you follow, support his organization, and reach out if you need help. Matthew, thanks so much for joining us. And I just want to wish you all the best of luck on your incredible journey. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so very grateful. Thank you guys for listening and let me know how I can serve you guys.
Matthew, you have such a big heart. I love you, man. Virtual hug right through here. Let me know if you
Yes.
need anything. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a good one, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yes. See you later.